Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points on your competitive shooting matches. So, as promised, we got some match footage. If you saw my sort of unboxing and first impressions, DNT Optics was nice enough to send out the one. And yeah, threw it on a rifle, took it to an NRL22 match. So, this would be footage from the July Courts of Fire. And we're just going to jump right into it. Now, with the caveat that, as always, all of this is filmed through the trigger cam, so it's not going to be an exact representation of what you're going to see through the scope, but you'll get an idea and a little bit of a sense of how the scope performs, get a nice view of the reticle, how it looks at targets, and all that good stuff. So we're going to jump right into it, and our squad started on stage 4. This was the 2-barrel stage. We have 2 banks of targets, a near and a far. Here I parallaxed for the close target, or slightly maybe in between the 2 targets, just to get an idea of how good the depth of field was on the parallax. I'm running at about 18 to 20 power on this stage. Let's see how it went.
Ready, stand by, go. Impact. 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 As long as it picks it up. Impact. Push that button and goes to the impact or bank. Alright, start on forward. It won't pick it up until you push the button. Impact.
That was dumb.
Impact. You hit the same one twice. Yeah. You're starting back on what? 4 again. Impact. Fucking dirty edge. Not enough wind out there. I was holding about 2/10. Yeah, it's about 2/10.
So a little mistake on my end, rushed a shot, missed the target, but now we're moving on to stage 5 in the booklet, which is the pyramid stage. So here again, we have 2 target distances. Here I'm parallaxing specifically for the far target. So at Phoenix Rod and Gun Club, our 100-yard berm, targets at 100 yards have to be placed on top of the berm because of the firing line and the orientation that we shoot. So if you miss on those targets because they're elevated, the round goes way down range. It's very difficult to see anything. So I definitely set my parallax usually for the 100-yard targets, and try and pick up some trace if I'm going to miss off left, off right, low or high, or anything like that. So here I'm parallaxed again, probably the same magnification in that 18 to 20 range. Parallax for the far target, and you'll see the dirty parallax on the 76-yard target. So let's see how it went.
Tablet timer. Ready? Ready. Tablet time. Go.
Alright, shooter.
Impact.
Yeah.
Impact.
Very Alright, spotters?
Impact.
Alright, shooter ready.
Shooter ready.
Stand by.
Impact.
Yeah.
So that's got to be from another. There's nobody here. Yeah, I was going to say. Impact. That's yellow.
Alright.
Take a deep breath. Hold it. Impact. It's fine because there's no shot.
Oh, okay.
You ready? You're ready. Stand by. Impact. Impact.
Circling back to stage one, which was the tank trap stage, here is an interesting one, right? Because our first shot at this stage is going to be on the small target. So I definitely take my time, get prone, get set up. And you can actually see through the trigger cam, you get to see a little bit of that mirage. So you see the heat waves and thermals coming off the ground. They're blowing a little bit right to left. So I make a little bit of a correction there. Definitely you can see that through the scope, and you can even see it through the trigger cam. So it's only one distance, so parallaxed and set for that distance. Running probably a little bit higher magnification, maybe in that 20 to 22 range, because I'm not having, I don't need that big field of view. It's only one bank of targets. Get a little creative with my transitions on the tank trap. I don't know if I was overcomplicating or what, but bracing myself against the tank trap on that forward tank trap tip and just going through the stage. Let's see how it went.
Shooter ready. Ready. Stand by. Engage.
So everything that's happening is what I'm looking at.
But I mean, you can be that's where you want to be.
It's about like that. Which is also why in some of the videos you can actually watch the replay. Miss the target because it's zoomed in far enough to be close.
Are you ready?
Yep. No, so I'm looking at that quarter inch and the round misses. I'm watching that top dot.
There you go.
Otherwise, that's the whole thing.
You could go to 2 feet. There you go.
You can wrangle a 308 to keep the target. It's the exact same thing with everything else.
Impact.
Yeah, shoot a B6, shoot a 20.
No, it's not.
Impact.
14
What I mean by that is 308, I have to throw.
Next up is stage two in the booklet. It is the tire stack and ladder stage. Here we're afforded the use of a optional club tripod. I definitely wanted to take advantage of that. Rear support is definitely, 2 points of contact. Definitely can make things more stable. So I put a flat bag way out front, try to brace that against the forward part of the ladder, as you'll see in a moment. And using a rear admiral, thank you, David, for letting me borrow that. I still have yet to pick up one myself, but it's definitely on my wish list, just to get a little bit of easier time manipulating the rear of the rifle on the tripod. That really kind of takes all the wiggle out of this stage. I did kind of have a little bit of trouble because at one of the heights, I was really close or right on the knuckle of one of the leg adjustments. So that kind of threw a little bit of a wrench into the works, but was able to overcome that, use the tripod and front bag again, trying to get that distance between the front area of contact and the rear area of contact as wide as possible. Generally leads to more stability. So let's see how this stage went.
Wait. Creed Moore is
Impact.
over $1,400 a piece.
Impact.
Bruno's is almost $1,700. So at the end of the day,
17 from. All right, spotter ready.
yes, sir. For your
Shooter ready. Shooter ready. Stand by. Engage.
Ryan, you're fine.
Whoa. Faster if we miss it.
Ryan put the order in. Well, we also bought, I don't know if they did a price break, but we bought 2 cases. But yeah, it ended up being
Impact.
$1,450.
Impact.
So total out the door.
Impact. 2 wide door was like 17.
For both cases out the door was $21.25. Now that was after. You almost you go charging about $7.
Impact. Impact. Up and down. Okay, we impact. In all impact. I was going to leave the extra one sitting right next to Ready? Very nice. 14 seconds left.
Last up is stage 3. This is the prone stage. We have 2 banks of KYL targets and a FAR target, so you'll see me changing parallax as I go because, especially for those smaller KYL targets, I'm generally at max power. So here you'll see the scope kind of at 35 power. You can kind of see a little bit of image degradation here at the higher end, which is true for many scopes that have such a wide magnification range, especially at the higher end. You know, you're going to see a little bit of degradation there. The image gets a little bit darker, and that's just due to simple physics and optical design. So usually with these wide magnification range scopes, the sharpest image is somewhere close to the middle. I still have yet to test exactly. I'll have to get out my nice little lens testing charts and see exactly where the sharpest image is, but it's usually somewhere in the middle between 15 and 25 power. But at 35 power, still totally usable. Obviously, we have the advantage of being in Arizona. It's bright and sunny most of the time. So no problems there. The image does get a little darker, the eye box does shrink, but you'll at least get to see what the scope kind of looks like at 35 power. This stage kind of bothers me that it's the tiebreaker stage because you're having to wait. If you do hit the KYL targets, they're spinning and spinning and spinning. You have to wait for them to slow down so that you can gauge them again. I'd much rather have something like the pyramid stage for fast movement, rewarding you for extra time on the clock. So a little bit of a personal preference on how I would have changed this course of fire, but regardless, you'll get to see how this scope looks at a higher magnification. You'll see a little bit of chromatic aberration, some color fringing around the edges. That could also be an artifact of the camera itself, the trigger cam. So I don't want you to think that's what the scope looks like. To your eye, you know, everyone's eyes are different, but it does, you know, your brain corrects for a lot of these abnormalities, and what you're seeing through the scope is not exactly maybe what a camera would see. But here is the last stage of the day, stage 3, KYL stage from the prone position at max power.
We got one hit.
Ready?
3. Impact. Impact.
Impact.
Impact.
Impact.
Banking that.
Impact.
Impact. Bank.
Impact.
So I did 5 on that one?
Yeah. Correct.
Impact. Impact.
And now we wait.
We engage target 6.
Impact.
Okay, instead of trying to hold over.
Impact.
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 As long as your fingers are up on top,
Impact.
and you use that to kind of wedge
Impact. Bank.
Impact.
in that opening.
Impact.
Is it me?
Yeah. Send it anyway.
8. Oh, you're trying, Chase?
Yeah, try to.
Yeah.
You didn't dial for the last.
All right. I got you. 11 out of 12.
Let me take this one just in case. I
No,
think
you
I
got one more shot. Yeah, take it.
just take a look.
Impact.
I kept down.
Hot.
Yep.
So that's going to wrap up the July course of fire using DNT Optics the 1. And yeah, went pretty well. Only dropped 3, but that was still only good enough for 3rd place, unfortunately. So I was 1 point away from the match win and lost to the tiebreaker time. It dropped me down from 2nd to 3rd. So definitely, tough competition at the top, as it usually is at our clubs. But Scope performed extremely well. He saw most of the first 4 stages. If there were multiple distances, I was using holdovers. So the reticle is very simple and intuitive to use. Really easy to see those hash marks about where you need to hold. Usually I was holding on some stages it was like 0.8, 1.0, 1.2, anything like that. So definitely a very clear reticle design for this type of competition shooting. On that last stage, you definitely could hear the audible clicks of me dialing for each bank of targets. And yeah, I mean, it's so crisp that if you know that it's a 3 or 4 tenths difference, you don't even have to look at the scope. You could just feel and click, count in your head 1 2 3 4 as you spin the scope up. So probably one of the most fantastic turrets I've ever felt on a scope under $1,000, bar none. So very impressed with that. And yeah, scope performed extremely well. Hopefully you got a little bit of an idea through the trigger cam, what kind of something, what to expect in terms of image quality. Again, it's through a camera, so it's not exactly what your eye is going to see, and everyone's eyes are different, but the tracking was spot on. Reticle is really easy to understand, and you're still picking up, that mirage. You're still picking up those little subtleties that are usually indicative of a much higher and expensive optics, which have, the multi-coating and this, that, the other thing that helps them cut through sort of any, haze in the air and atmospherics. As far as shallowness of depth of field, I think it's pretty middle of the road, average. It's good for this price point, don't get me wrong, but there are some, Night Force and Collis scopes that I've been behind where you can just pretty much set it at 75 yards and see everything all day. So again, that comes down to quality of glass, quality of coatings, but for this type of competition, I think it's a great value at its price point. So hopefully that gave you some insight. We're going to bring you footage from the August course of fire next. So if you haven't done so, don't forget to go down, subscribe, hit that bell notification to get notified when that video comes out. And until I see you next time, as always, score more points.